Good morning, everyone. It is time for First Alert Weather Extra. It is 8:01. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Jill Gilardi here, and we have a lot to talk about, especially regarding today's weather. It is a First Alert Weather Day. Now, things are a little different today in terms of the intensity of the heat, how widespread it is going to be, and also the risk for some stronger storms and heavier torrential rainfall that could be more problematic. So we have multiple concerns. Of course, the more widespread impact would be if you're outside in the heat. It's going to be feeling 95 to 100 degrees for many hours today. The heat advisory goes into effect basically, here soon, and then it goes until 8 p.m. So we're going to start to feel in the 90s as early as 10 o'clock. So try and knock out anything outdoors before 10 a.m. if you can. Yeah, most of the state is covered up in major heat risks. So, our bodies are it's going to be very challenging for our bodies to cool off when it is this hot. It is the very humid air combined with a high in the low 90s to create that hotter feel. It's a combination, remember? And so you kind of throw the current temperature, the thermometer reading out the window on a day like today. You focus on the heat index, and that heat index, as you can see, really soars through the late morning hours into the early evening. Now, what will knock down the temperature on a localized level is if you get a passing shower storm. So, you can hope for that, but maybe you don't want one of these storms today because excessive rainfall, it's at a level 2. So 2 out of 4, we're getting up there into a territory where, flash flooding could be a concern today. And because of that, there's a flood watch out. So a flood watch means that, conditions will become favorable later today after 2 o'clock for any one of these storms to produce potential flash flooding, torrential downpours. And, locally you can get an area that gets, over, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, not out of the question. Just want to update this for you. There's severe threat today. When we're in a level 1, that means an isolated severe storm is possible. Today's top concern with a severe thunderstorm would be damaging wind gusts. We're just out of that slight risk, which would mean more scattered severe storms. So we'll see if Storm Prediction Center changes any of that. So just be on guard for possible damaging wind-producing storms today. But it's, the heat and then that flooding risk. It'll be the top concerns as we go throughout today. So we're dry this morning. This afternoon, it's like clockwork. You start heating things up. It's like a pot of water on the stove. It starts to heat up. It starts to boil. And that's kind of like what's going to be happening in our atmosphere today with these showers and thunderstorms developing. And then the coverage becomes scattered. So not everybody will see the rain or the severe thunderstorm or the torrential rainfall, but some folks will. Okay, so that's where we prepare for that possibility. So late afternoon into the evening hours, we're going to be tracking those scattered storms, even into 10 o'clock at night. When it's dark out, so you have to make sure you have a reliable way of getting warning information. And the easiest way is through the First Alert Weather app. If you go to the settings, you can always make sure that it is set to follow you, but you can also include other, cities that you want alerts for as well. And so that can be helpful if you're concerned about others or if you want extra lead time. That's a great way to kind of go about it. All right, so today's First Alert Weather Day, top threat heat. Second in line would be, torrential rainfall. Then, of course, lightning, and then those damaging wind gusts. We're explaining kind of how things will kind of evolve today with the storms on this First Alert Weather Day. Again, they're scattered this afternoon, evening. The rainfall rates per hour, 1 to 2 inches. So flash flooding could easily develop. You have a couple of hours of rain. It's like, oh boy, here we go. So make sure you get those alerts. And then on a localized level, damaging wind gusts will be a possibility, which means there could be power outages, which could be an indication of downed limbs or even trees. And, that wind damage. So the weather app, it is so helpful. Take the time to just go in there in the top right-hand corner, click on settings, make sure it's following you, add any other, cities or towns that you would like alerts for. And then you can go in and, select what specific alerts you want. You want heavy rainfall, you want lightning alerts, you want just warnings. I mean, you can choose whatever and customize it however you would like. The other alert we have today is for air quality. It's due to elevated ground level ozone. It's not great for those with respiratory issues like asthma. That's from 11 o'clock to 11 p.m. The heat risk tomorrow, it backs off to just the moderate to minor level. So we get a little relief coming our way. It's not going to be feeling as hot, but still a little toasty out there tomorrow. It's not going to be completely, comfy. It'll still be muggy, but not humid like today, with a feels like temperature near 90. Even tomorrow evening and night, there's an indication there could be some storm development across southwestern Connecticut, so a strong storm can't be ruled out regarding that, so we'll be monitoring for that possibility. There's a closer look. And then excessive rainfall. It comes back in the forecast for Thursday. Anytime you get this real tropical kind of air mass, you can get, some very heavy downpours with these. Well, downpours are heavy, but you know what I mean, torrential rainfall. So the temperature trend, it is going to be, hot again tomorrow, but not as humid. Temperatures with more rain and storms around will be held back Thursday and Friday. And this weekend, kind of like close to normal heat levels. Okay, we'll take that. You see the dew point does take a little and a brief nosedive. Some subtle changes in our future. Maybe after Sunday we'll get some better relief. I like where that line's going down into the 50s. That's where we need it. So yeah, minor adjustments with how it feels outside. Again, today is extreme. Tomorrow, at a level close to extreme, but not as obviously bad as today. And then we get a little hotter over the weekend, but no big deal. So yeah, we can get rid of this graphic. I will definitely get rid of that because we're done with, after last weekend, we put an end to the 18 weeks in a row with a little bit of rain at some point over the weekend in the Hartford area. All right, 6 to 10 day outlook, leaning a little wetter now and still leaning a little wetter beyond the 7-day. Hot temperatures, yeah, that pattern looks to probably stick around. The probability is obviously leaning in the slightly wetter and slightly hotter direction. 63s are normal low, 85s are normal high. Let's see if there's anything normal. Well, we'll start with the lows. Not quite, but the closest we'll get is Saturday morning and Sunday morning. All right, for highs, 85 is a normal high. Yeah, well, slightly below that Thursday and Friday, and at that or pretty close to normal over the weekend into early next week. So yeah, there's a look at the shoreline temperatures. Whoa, how about 77 on Thursday and 80 on Friday, 79 on the weekend. So yeah, temperatures will get a little better. But in terms of rain and storm chances, they're scattered this afternoon, isolated tomorrow, pretty, scattered to numerous at times on Thursday, isolated Friday right now. Hear that? Knocking on some wood, dry over the weekend, and then perhaps some storms going into early next week. All right, that is your latest First Alert Weather Extra, of course. That active weather is probably going to be some ongoing storms around the 9:30 time of our next First Alert Weather Extra. Definitely tune on in. Again, we try and give a more in-depth look at the forecast for you right here every day, twice a day. Have a great rest of your day. Stay weather alert, stay cool, and I will talk to you guys more tomorrow.